can't believe it's snowing. It felt like springtime just a few...
There he still is, looking right through you. You see a set of tire tracks in the brown slush that covers the plaza mosaic. Cop habit. You look at this isn't case related, you think. Hard to say. Your vision is blurred and you're having difficulty concentrating. No, these tracks are not interesting at all. Let the street sweeper just sweep them away. A simple little cadence. He seems to be making it up as
from another planet. Hey there. You sure are, my man. It's the jam, my man. It's a traffic jam for the ages. Harbor gates up the street are shut tight. No explanation given. Workers on strike, scabs agitating. Meanwhile, we're all stuck here in long-haul limbo for days upon days upon days. Yeah.
It's official. He too agrees. This is the end.
Feels like forever. Like I was born on this here roundabout and this was all I ever knew. Just me and the metal and the tires, the oil and the fuel. Yeah, imagine. It's been a whole week.
Behind the laugh, however.
So tell me, what do you need? Nope, don't smoke. Some of the other drivers do though. There's still a few around, waiting for the jam to dis-
Yup, nothing wrong with that statement. Your senses have nothing to-
You could also check the kiosk down the street. Frit. Huh? Oh. No, I ain't got any. The bosses, man. Yeah, it sure ain't good for me. Or you. I'd spare a coin or two for a city cop down in his luck. If I had... It's like, whatever's going on over at the docks. Workers got a blockade set. Some pretty wild stuff, I hear. Like a giant new power crane in half the company. I've heard talk there's a company rep in town too. Like...
Ah, yes. From the Wild Pines. We'll meet her soon enough, I'm sure.
They want to keep that money flowing in, my man.
He doesn't blame them, but he's not on their side.
Anything else? Yeah, this ain't really my area of expertise. I just do my job and get paid. Us lorry drivers. Cam, your nurse. If you still hang around here waiting for this mess to end, most have scurried off somewhere. Not my thing. Chasing transient pleasures is a drag these days.
What's better than chasing transient pleasures? The more transient, the better.
He ain't one of us drivers. I know that. All accounted for.
It's easy to see he's telling the truth. He's kept his...
Analyzing the fundamental structural and psychological conditions of being stranded in a sense of surprise there ain't more bodies hanging from more trees. Oh, high-grade narcotics.
Relax. He's merely joking.
Ha! No, I'm joking, my man. Found runs a nice clean bit. They usually get shipped to Grad in the Occident. Though we've been making headway in the Il Moran market, not unless they've illegalized sports equipment while I was on the road. This rockin' beauty. Sure is, like a rash you can't get rid of.
A motor lorry, also called a camion, on Caillou and neighboring islands.
Good eye, my man. Yup, she's an old one, but reliable. Me and her spent a long...
There it is again. A little touch of sadness beneath his cool.
We're pals and all, but I can't just freely hand out the merchandise. The bosses won't be happy.
The man taps his fingers rhythmically against his arm. Ease into it. Don't go too far. This seems like a personal matter.
You really are the law, aren't you? I get that being bluntly observant and inquisitive.
That all the beans you got, Tommy? Damn, it really...
Don't be a stranger.
An old monument stands in the middle of the traffic island. A silver plaque on the statue's pedestal reads, "I am Philip III, the Squanderer." What did he do? You have no idea. High above you, the... small, wrinkled woman does not greet you. She nods along. The photo, an ambrotype from the it's the warmth of a winter night's fire. Maybe she could give you comfort and shelter, some cigarettes and food money. No response. Wherever this woman is, your word, nothing. Her smile just keeps...
Wait. She's just a distracted old woman. Better to leave her alone. Why? I just told you why.
The woman still... A lorry stuck in the traffic jam. This big head, the windows are clear. They've been recently washed. You can see a lorryman's... The driver has adorned his space with a substantial collection of peculiar... The back end of the cabin has a small perch to sleep.
Racist nationalist paraphernalia. Not unusual in this part of town. This is our guy. Likely, yes. This guy's proud of who he is. Drapes it...
Bastards! We have a right to work! Hold up and stay frosty, everyone. Cops are here.
You here to fuck with us? Beat the honest worker down. We're here to fight for a cause. Stripes usually have problems with people who have... Good. We're fighting for a cause here.
Right!
Besides, we're not that different. It helps if people see us talking. Rights of people. Rights of work.
His manner of speaking is wooden. The tone of voice bland and uninspired. Almost at...
Might be time. Don't let the fat bastards tread on you. I don't trust cops, but I can see you understand the
Right to work!
Maybe you should ask them the questions. Like, why we're not allowed to make... We have families to feed you.
So do we, Scott.
Have fun. Union shits are on full strike. Don't think they're going to let you through the gate. I know nothing about a murder.
The mention of a killing sends a barely noticeable shiver of tenseness through me.
What are you talking about?
Yes,
Right to work!
It's shameful. Cops doing nothing. You should bring backup. Open up the gates for us. Blockading gainful employment.
We are not picking a side.
Pity.
Let Us!
When a bunch of ungrateful, lazy cockroaches can't get their act together,
Beats me. They mumble nonsense about boardrooms and workers' rights. While
When the man moves around, you perceive some serious. There's something odd in the way he carries himself. His set of clothing looks vaguely mismatched. The different pieces of the attire seem ill-fitting. His shirt is far too small and an unpleasantly tight fit, while the overalls, held up by a belt, seem. He ignores your question, choosing instead to turn to silence is the answer. You've been talking to him for quite a while now. Something is off with this guy.
what's it to you? Am I a suspect? Done no crimes. I only fight for the rights of people. We're all workers, right? Workers stick together. Came from the eminent domain, in Jamrock. Backgrounds in odd jobs, heavy lifting, cargo hauling, bouncer work. I know the drill. Worked at Territorium. Ring a bell? Uh-huh. It was a long time ago. What's it to you? Am I a suspect? We're all workers, right? Workers stick together. Worked at... We're done here. I have a strike to break.
right to work! Right!
Things are busy enough. You're going to waste less of my time?
The hulking man oozes stark skeptic.
Honest men and women with rights to work, to be useful, not toys for corporate interests. We came here to help the harbor run smoothly in time of...
I have a question. Why do all these men follow you?
You think they follow because I'm big and loud? No. They follow the rules of the... We were promised work. We'd be in there, working, if the bastards hadn't... Main gate's locked. Would take heavy ordnance to bust it open and try to get in through the secretary's office. Door's locked. And I don't mean the scrawny mess punk either. I mean head. Huge Seminese guy standing up there on the overhead passage. Won't let anyone by. Bad. Standing on a narrow bridge, he's got a strategically... I don't know how the Union has a trained killer up there. But why don't you go arrest them instead?
It would be better for the neighborhood if you went home, at least for now.
No! They will give up event.
Looking for something, Hunt? Come to tell me to fuck off again? Oh man, that's great. God damn.
He doesn't live in Martinez.
Oh yeah, they're a big deal. My great-grandfather was someone with a cat. What did you think it was? Sure fucking is. We have a guild and everything, huh? Very goddamn right. They've been trying to fuck us out of our heritage in trusting street thugs with their... No.
He's got a smoke right there, in his fucking hand. Snatch that shit.
It's my last one. Why would I do that? I'm an honest man. But, what, officer? Sorry I couldn't be of any help.
The tear machine stands in the corner. A sign says, "What?"
Oh, that's the tear machine. It's a machine for tear. You know, you find tear outside, like bottles or whatever. You need a bag, I guess. We used to have... Feel free to use it if you find a bag, though. I'm sure there are some out there.
You see several packaged raincoats fill a low shelf beneath a display of croissants and...
What is what? If you want to buy one, then it's only 4 real.
A colorful display of cigarettes and alcohol there, in that dark green glass. All in vain.
Sure. But I'm obliged to inform you that both alcohol and cigarettes damage your health. But I guess you already know that. Here you go, mister.
A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles. Their logo is the bloodless rose.
Just ask me if you need anything from St. Baptiste. We don't stock prescription meds, but we do have Nosafed, Duramine, Magnesium, and Hypnogamma. I don't know. Let's see. Nosafed is a nasal... I don't really know what Hypnogamma is. I guess it may... no. Sorry.
Nosafed heals +1 health.
St. Baptiste. You know. St. Baptiste Pharmaceuticals.
She is right. Saint Baptiste, the company, derives its name.
Welcome to Frit. Feel free.
What's that magazine she's reading?
You mean this? This is Pop Stars. It's...
Looks like it also has something called Police de la Mode, featured on page 34. This speaks to you. She pops her raspberry flavor. The lieutenant frowns at you before turning to the clerk with an apologetic.
I don't know. Frit? A 7 to 11 grocery store? I think they think that the extra T makes it funky.
The story goes that normal fritta with 2 T's, a men's workwear.
Okay. A warehouse? I don't know. Maybe.
She looks up.
Fine. Frit doesn't have a warehouse. Just a little back room here. Okay? I don't really know anything. I mean, not really. No. I didn't know him at all. I don't know, really.
No need to worry. It's just standard procedure for us to ask her.
Okay. Uh-huh. Reality? You mean?
She is like a student unexpectedly called upon by a teacher. Can she answer the class?
I don't really know anything. I mean, I'm 15. Yeah, that's why I'm working my arse off in Frit. So I don't know what we're in Frit as mankind or
What will her essay prompt?
in a good place. I mean, science is doing great, and this radio computer thing. I don't know. Look at the...
The clock shows the time at 10:09. The hands seem to be still.
When ordinary people take over the government and... Yeah, it happened like 50 years ago or so. Our government? Or do you mean something else? Sorry. Cool.
There it is, a brave little army in your pocket. You picked the best one. This soldier is fat and succulent. Get a load of this rock and roll cop hair, people. Johnny Thundercop fishes a cheap lighter. Repercussions, there's a high risk of glory with a mild chance. Cool. It will help you concentrate a bit. That much is true. Thick, warm smoke gets sucked down into your lungs. Immediately, you feel a warm nostalgia fill your head, body, and...
In the bottom right corner of the screen, there's a cigarettes button. Cigarettes gives +1 to intellect skills. Logic...
There he still is, looking.
Have you come to make your offering to Kuno?
Put it away. The information here is...
Back off, fuck eyes! Kuno is a man!
The lieutenant doesn't like this. It may be less destructive to your working relationship to just come back alone later.
Fuck you too, piggo! Fuck!
Hola, Wandering Man. How can I help you?
Nobody betrays your
Yeah, Measurehead. His body totally betrays his degeneracy.
Are you admiring my morpho? It must be frightening to stand in the shadow of this racial pinnacle. Be calm, I'm sandwich. What is this androgynous display of sexuality?
Merely standing up makes you sweat profusely.
Stop it! You are... This display of weakness may appeal to older women with a stronger maternal instinct.
Jean-Luc, his body is betraying his degeneracy pretty hard.
You have succumbed to Al-Ghul. You reek of it. An invisible sword of Al-Ghul emerges from your throat. You cannot... Yes,
He means alcohol.
correct. My small skulls. Al-Ghul is an ancient Ilmaran poison. A parasitic fungus that has colonized.
Intentionally fermented drinks have existed for 10,000 years.
This is a fabrication that alchemists of Yizot and Bashir and their Holam Al-Ghul have fed your people. Go on believing in it. Raise look good. There is a frit nearby. Congratulate yourself.
Oh yeah, Measurehead.
It's not good.
It's like a rat crawled into your stomach, got drunk and drowned.
No, you don't. You need to get another drink. Occidental Aplo Group.
Does this remind you of someone? The guy down there?
Look at my craniology. I am the pinnacle of my haplogroup. The pink blood. You gave the world eugenics, electricity, and powerful weapons of... You dominated lesser cultures, like the deformed Hemians and the inexplicably potato. You will be...
It is, baby, yeah.
There is a button right behind him, just out of reach. It must be the one that opens the door to the harbor.
It is my task to keep the degenerate drunks from... Enough with this begging. Bring your troops to the Simonine Islands, and the walls will be lined with bottles of Al-Ghul.
There may be a peaceful solution to this. You could internalize Measurehead's race theory. He would take you as one of his own. Well, not as such. What you do with a mastery of advanced race theory is up to you. You could reject the findings, sure, or accept.
Racists are generally not very good examples of their... I am not like them. I am craniometric.
The drawings are precise and look true to their pseudo-scientific ambitions. One thing, however, it is not...
That atavistic stigmata makes pussy say yes, plenty.
Babe, thanks. But I got this. Don't be vulgar. White or not has got little to do with this. The race enigma. Mr. Claire is a man of vision and means. He has the will to confront Polycul also. To serve is noble. It takes discipline. Your jam. Individualism. You have gotten these ideas from degenerate youth. Of course it does. You are a degenerate I am not surprised you enjoy it so much. This has happened to many of the South Island race. Haplogroup A4A. We are the rightful master. We are the future. I am a descendant. The narrow streets of Ulimbuir are with me. No. I have heard I'm from Couronne. And no, it is not just. You have heard enough about our phylogenetic secrets for today.
I think this racist is better than the last. But
that will be the...
That is understandable. The previous racist was probably...
These cops are just jealous, Jean-Luc.
He does not so much as glance at the object.
Stop showing me your...
He had nothing to do with it. Does he strike you as the kind of man who puts mugs into trash?
Your race descent has only worsened since I last saw you. You have really let yourself go.
Just like that. Instinct. The man is reeling. All you hear is, don't wait. You've only got a millisecond. That fighting pose. Watch out. He's expecting the hook. The man lands with a dull thump, like a broken down puppet of muscles and sinew. For a moment, he still tries to keep his head up, dazed eyes looking at you with unimaginable surprise. To your left is as you slam your fist on the button.
Looks like you're the new measurehead now.
No one is the new measurehead. Let's go.
The man is still not. On second glance, someone has forgotten to properly...
It's unfortunate for the Union to...
Let's see what's inside, he thinks. The drawer opens smoothly. Inside is a web... Hundreds of documents containing logistical data. Two kinds of transactions stand out, and the same materials being handed over to companies inside Revachol. It's hard to make sense of this thicket of company names, dates, quantities, and percentages. You try to focus, but the lines are getting blurry. Hundreds of documents containing logistical data, and the same materials being handed over to companies in... You already went through all of these. Whatever's hidden here is hidden well. Concentration isn't enough. Only a trained accountant with a back. It appears to be a to-do list. Remember, Leo, Everart's shoes, special whirling borscht. Water. All items on the list have been crossed out, and the note itself is crumpled.
Everard Clare, probably. The head of the Debarders Union.
The special borscht seems a bit... What is so special about this borscht? Code... Remember, Leo, Everart's shoes. All items on the drawer slides. The front of this quarterly journal features a large satirical because white antlers are one of the symbols of communism. They represent a society in accord with the natural world because VIII was incompetent, foolish, and cruel. To your disappointment, there aren't any full-color pictures to direct you. After rifling the pages with the magazine is divided into several sections. International Comrade. As you know, this journal takes its name from Mazov's immortal expression, but, like the structures of capitalist ideology, we too are at risk of going only 4 issues in, and it's so please, if you value our radical Mazovian perspective on contemporary politics, culture, and international affairs.
What do you expect? It was laying around the office of the...
You flip back to the front of the magazine. This section includes a long, tedious critique of... You also skip over an article about heavy fuel oils. Face it, you really aren't interested in... You flip back to the front of the magazine. It takes a moment, but gradually it dawns on you why they decided to title this one. It evokes a sense of recognition, and as you leaf through this section, you come across several reviews of recent radio plays. The main feature, though, is a long essay. The Tip Top Tourney is an inter-Isolari racing series, mostly known for its high speeds. This so-called artist spotlight is really just a brief Q&A. You think you're settling in for a relax. Instead, you find yourself skimming a 10,000-word. Where to even start? For one, there's the crass commercialism of its sponsorship. So, all of it, basically. Oddly enough, this article has 2, but there's no way those are. Have you ever met anyone named Exilus? Under capitalism, the article says, every pursuit has its price. Thus, the so-called tourney becomes a competition between, and that precisely is what's problematic about it. Were it not for at the end of the day, it's the destruction of these 750,000 real racers that, you see, one cannot avoid the conclusion that Tip Top Tourney is simply the apotheosis of spectacular entertainment under capitalism.
I can safely say the thought had never crossed my mind, Detective. I'm sure most things are, if the young men who wrote this... If I had to wager, I'd say they've never even seen the inside of a motor.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. Unsurprisingly, much of this section is taken up with articles declaring You skim the headlines. Paint the harbor red and white. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer, G. Martin, accusing the owner of the Capeside Apartments of illegally attempting to evict certain communist tenants simply for not having paid their rent. According to these editorials, there can be no accommodation. Why do communists love puerile insults? You flip back to the front of the magazine. An imposing combination of a punch clock and a payphone is looking down at you from the wall. A note on the side says, "The machine swallows your coin and seems to be waiting for your next move." The tarpaulin cloak is still hanging on the railing. As your fingers touch the tarpaulin, it almost feels like the cloak. I will shield you from the elements. Snow is quietly covering the numerous wine bottles and cigarette. Well, they went through 6 bottles of potent Pilsner, 3 bottles of
Well, yes, I think we can say with relative confidence that it was you. Yes, this scene isn't exactly ripping.
This is the night watchman's booth. Then listen, it's okay to take a few minutes to yourself. Sit down and have a breath.
If you must. But please hurry, we are pretty easy to spot.
Nothing incriminating catches your eye. The cabinets are clean and their sparse contents meticulously organized. It's a black and white photo of a young couple out in a street fair. The man is young.
Why did you take that? Fine, but let's move. I don't want to be seen snooping around.
The chair is not as austere as the rest of the booth. A thin grey pillow is attached to this. The drawers are empty, save for old timesheets and receipts. One small box, however, does hold some cheap painkillers. Oh boy, where to start? Elevated? Maybe this was a bad idea.
I'm not here to tell you what to do, detective.
You take the painkillers. They are yours now. You stand and exit. This is the night watchman. Control panel with several knobs. Marsh.
Container, I'll turn you nice and red.
The lyrics to this Container song, the accent is so thick, it's impossible not to notice.
container, used to be Wild Pines. Everard, he looks after
The look in his deep blue eyes is as sincere as you've...
I see you are not a union man, mister. Did you get lost? I mean, I don't personally mind. Folks is just folks, you know, and folks got... Just some of the other guys don't look too kindly. Oh yes, born and raised in Irish, mister. Mum had to leave my dad after he got a bit violent. Took us here to the new world. People say us Ubies are up to all sorts of trouble with sheep and other animals and whatnot. I just...
Thank you for clarifying that, sir.
Oh, I'm just making some covers for them containers here. Yes I am. So it's easier for the crane operators to spot them.
Everything is so pretty and red. You and Leo look like brothers as you glance around.
Sure is, mister. Sure is.
I hate to break this bonding moment, but the red containers mean they are replacing the company livery with the union livery.
Oh, most of the guys are down at the gates, keeping the scabs from coming. We're on a strike. The whole union is.
So no one is working?
Not everyone is down there, of course. Mr. Everard is in his office, but Titus and his boys got into some drunken trouble and Everard sent them on a nice vacation for a week or so. Oh, I'm not really supposed to talk about that. Him and his boys stirred up something in town. Probably drank too much and got into a fight or I guess the boys got a bit too rowdy and had to let out some steam. I don't really...
Easy, Leo. Let's keep this under...
Look at him. It's not going to be anything useful anyway. Don't fight it. Better to go with the flow. Too late. Leo's mouth is still moving and the words are spewing forth. Now he's talking about some drunk sawmill owner who...
Yes. Everybody needs a job, and this is mine. I'm Leonard, by the way. Leonard Bellick. But I'm like Mr. Everett's right-hand man when Mr. Edgar is... Actually, Miss Beaufort is the...
Who is this, Miss Beaufort?
A real pretty lady with a skin like those Douai Sucre candy bars my missus likes so. But I can't listen to the radio all the time. There's so much to do around here and I'm always... Oh, Lizzie. She is a real sharp tool. Mr. Everett put her through some...
He respects that word.
But she's a real nice girl. Grew up in this here neighborhood. Knows everybody and gets along with everyone.
For a fraction of a second, this...
If me missus and me was to have a child, I'd be real happy if she turned out like her. Dr. Lemaitre said so. And she knows about such things. Being a doctor...
So Everett trained a lawyer named Miss Beaufort. Interesting.
Yes, this place really seems to run like clockwork.
Well, thanks a lot. Coming from you, it means a lot. Sometimes I feel some of the guys don't really get how much I bust my ass.
The white rectangle on your clothes might not mean an awful lot in Martinez, but the recognition from an authority figure made Leo's day.
Oh, yes. I leave all kinds of notes for myself. That old head... Oh, yes. I've been taking special whirling borscht to them. It's very, very good. Makes a man feel so warm and happy. I feel...
Power borscht, huh? Never heard of a borscht that turns little guys into dogfighters. Alcohol, however.
Yes. I'm taking it to them. The borscht keeps them happy and in fighting spirits. Makes you all warm and... Oh, the whirling's cook. He makes it. Them is always talking with Mr. Manana in that weird language and laughing together. He doesn't speak... Oh, sure, mister. Sure. You do that. Yes, sir. Oh, that one. That should be empty as far as I know. Lots of containers here have nothing in them. Oh, you want Mr. Everett then? He's an awfully nice fellow, he is. Him and his guys like Mr. Everett and Mr. Edgar, his brother, are real good guys. Oh, Mr. Everett is usually in his office, of course. But you gotta be quick if you want to see him. He leaves around 10 p.m. Bye-bye now.
Before you is a walrus of a man seated behind a large desk. He looks up with great effort. He straightens himself up in his chair, yet...
Welcome, Mr. Dubois, Mr. Kitsuragi. It's good of you two to stop by. Please, have a seat. I'm Everard Clare. head of the Debarders Union here in Martinez. I'd offer you my hand, but unfortunately my health prevents me from getting up.
He looks extremely comfortable. The tiny folding chair, on the other hand.
You go ahead, detective.
Whatever he has in store for you, it can't be good. Forget about that. What's with this Dubois stuff?
Please, Mr. Dubois, let us converse in a civilized manner, as equals. Take a seat. Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you're a reasonable man, and reasonable men can be of great use to one another. So tell me, how can the head of the
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most uncomfortable chair in the world. It's violating your
Oh, by the way, I heard you got a rather rude reception from a certain Lawrence Gart. Some people have... This should take care of that nonsense. It should be sufficient to cover your expenses for a few days and patch over your differences with a cafeteria manager.
Wow, that's 25 real. That's good money. You need it.
Yes, I know Lawrence. He's a real character. No union...
With a grin, he points to the checker game. It's like you're on a game show. At least don't thank him for it.
Is there anything you'd like to say to me? Or...
No.
Cool? I wouldn't go that far. I'm sure there are cooler things than delivering a comically... Now, I'd like to set your mind at ease about one other matter. Your lost gun. Let me assure you, Union people are...
His slug-like lips move, but all you hear isn't... The world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. Only 2 words escape its gravitational pull. Lost and gun.
I know everything, Harry. Right? It's not like you left it loaded. You didn't lose a loaded gun. Local children aren't out there playing with it right now, pointing it into their own mouths. It's in a safe place. I just know it.
Officer, we will deal with this.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Officer.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
God, you're sweating. Your knee is jerking. You're about to cry, aren't you? You're about to cry because you...
Mr. Dubois.
What is this, Mr. Dubois? He keeps repeating.
Mr. Dubois. Mr. Dubois. Harry. Mr. Dubois, are you okay?
Maybe you could use your hands somehow, in a kind of throw-in motion, like you're throwing that Mr. Dubois act right back at him. He's Mr. Dubois.
What an odd demonstration of... you got me, Harry. I don't even know what. As entertaining as it was...
Okay, enough. We are here to ask...
Quick, here's your window. Get yourself to... It is about time to stop embarrassing yourself. Questions will help you regain some of your lost dignity.
Am I going to ask? Hell, Harry, would you ask a man like that how he got into your container yard? Don't worry, Harry. Between you and me, I'm not a huge fan of his race thing. Anyway, I assure you, I am a very well-informed man. Of course, let us dispatch with the formalities. My God, so it's true. I didn't want to believe it, but you are a fantastic science fiction amnesiac cop.
I think the odds of that.
It might be a good idea to hide your confusion. I mean, see what his game is first.
I assure you, there's nothing to be ashamed of, Harry. You're among friends and a good... I have a big fat folder on you, Harry. I'm sure you have a lot of questions.
Don't trust him. For all you know, Dubois might be...
I'm sure you had some concerns you thought I might be able to address. And you were probably right. I can.
Are you trying to tell me you've gotten hold of some of our documents?
Mr. Kitsuragi, would you mind? Me and Harry are talking about his...
Don't just jump to the folder. That's not smart. Shows you're on the edge. Do some probing first.
It's Harry. Harry Dubois. No, I'm really not. You and I can work with you, Harry. Now, what else can I do for you? But of course, Harry. Your precinct is the 41st and you live...
He doesn't really seem to know any more about...
Family? Harry, you're not a family man. There's not one peep of family in here. Unless you think you're a family man, do you strike yourself as a Well, yes. I'm sure you're going to make one little boy or a girl very happy and proud. Well, Harry, if I were to sum you up in one word, it would be apologetic. Yes, you seem to be, a lot of the time, but right now there's no reason to be. This, my friends in your
This translates into...
I find that very suspicious.
I'm afraid this is meant for union eyes only, Mr. Kitsuragi. I'm sure you understand. Please continue, Harry.
As you look at the folder, Everard covers it with his hand and pets it. He's hiding it from you because it's not a...
Okay, Harry, you got me. This is from the Census Bureau, not the RCM. Those Census Bureau people are
He got the name from the Census Bureau. And everything else?
Yes, Mr. Kitsuragi, from the Census Bureau. Like I said, now I'm actually a very busy man, so is there anything else I can do for you, Harry?
That means he doesn't really pity. The mystery of you.
Yes, that's what I said. Try to keep up, okay? Yes, your lost gun. My best men are on it. They're turning every stone. Your gun will be found, Harry.
The only way to find it seems to be working with him. He might even be holding your gun hostage. Who knows? Only one thing is certain. If you work with him, you're going to get it back. And working with him might be the only...
Damn it, Harry. That's exactly what it means. I'm only...
He is not.
Of course. I understand. We help you, you help us.
Oh, of course. That's your main thing here. That's why you're in Martinez. I know, I mean, it's no secret that the lynching is connected to the strike. So much to talk about, honestly, but there's a thing that's been keeping me up at night. I want to talk about the hanging. I mean...
Yes, that sounds good.
But I can't think straight with this thing weighing on me. You're police officers, aren't you? I have a crazy idea. You guys are basically door-opening machines. Incredibly talented at opening doors, and I'm sure you're going to open this one with flying colors, Harry.
Does this jiggling ooze think he's going to use you? He's got enough...
Harry, I'm a very busy man, and more importantly, I don't have that extraordinary physique you do.
You want to send someone a message that the police are working...
I repeat, I'm a very busy man, Mr. Kitsuragi, and therefore I must occasionally enlist outside help. So what? Oh, no one's. It's just a weasel. A weasel lives there. A loud blabbering weasel. When weasels feel no one is what, just go there, unlock the door, and leave it open. It's been such a burden on me, Harry. Harry, my dear friend, I am what people call a local bigwig. I know everything that goes on in Martinez. Fantastic, my friend. Just let me know when it's done. You can get the key from Manana. He's down by the gates. Manana's like a free agent in the Union. Special operations. Hardened socialist. Just open the door. You don't need to go in or anything. I just want that weasel to come home and see the unlocked door. I don't know what that means, Harry. Shady brew. There are so many You know what? Don't even tell me. Whatever it is, do it.
He sincerely has no idea what you were talking about. And he doesn't care either.
Wait. You need this to get in and out through the gate. Here, you're one of us now. A real red and white Union man.
Hey, so we've been monitoring you internally, and now we know your combo type. Guess. No, you're the sorry cop. The cop who's sorriest. Huge lack of enthusiasm going on in here. Oh, you know, Apocalypse, Superstellar, the what? Jealous of the they'll be super fine. It'll be totally okay. You can dual Copo type from sorry to... No you don't. Come on, you'll be back to saying sorry in 2 minutes. Stop wasting time and begin the repentance. Of course you are. It's okay. See if you can get something out of this. Like, that won't happen.
We should think about calling it a day, maybe. The nights are still miserably cold this time of... We should take care of that, then. Let's talk to him anyway. An officer of the RCM shouldn't be sleeping.
Though he finds this situation frustrating,
mister. I knew you'd be back to talk with old Leo here. Sure, mister. Absolutely. I'm always... Oh, hey, mister.
several knobs. 2 buttons marked Marsh and Arrête are faded with use. Marsh. On. Arrête. With a loud grind, the crane shifts overhead, moving a massive metal container through the air. With a surprisingly quiet, the harbor sleeps as the strike rages in the distance. Moving this container, of course. For the...
I can't see how that was worth.
Before you stands a cargo.
You do? There are 1 million containers here. Why are you fixing? You just picked one out because you wanted to. We are not here to interact with containers.
No reply. You attempt to turn the handle. To your left, the lieutenant considers your actions with some puzzlement. You're back before the cargo container. Its drawer has not lessened since you were last here. If anything, it seems... Rusting crane does not return to its original.
Do not presume this has drastically altered our race dynamic. Our personal dynamic has changed a little.
I can't believe it. It felt like springtime. I'm a night hawk. What can I...
She's still here.
You don't have to stay here because of us.
I like the city at night.
Hello again, sweetie.
The worker is...
Can I help you? Yes. Have you got it? Does that arrangement include you paying me what we already agreed you owe me?
I understand your predicament as the manager. I feel I must remind you that we are here to conduct an important investigation that also...
Forgive me for saying this, but your colleague seems more... I mean no offense. It's really nothing personal. I just have to protect the interests of this establishment. Not until you bring me the...
Okay. I might have something in my motor carriage we can use when you're done here.
I really didn't want to resort to this.
Oh, Lieutenant. We're done here.
You see a heavy steel door. Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio.
I have something here we could sell.
Transporting closure. The cage at the back of the motor carriage looks rather uncomfortable. 4 shiny hubcaps.
I confiscated these 4 a little while back. We can take them to the pawn shop down by the Martin. There are spinner hubcaps, frivolous things you put on your wheels. When the wheels come to a stop, the caps keep on spinning. There's no real use for them, it's just for vanity. A couple of weeks ago, I stopped a young man for going slower than the speed of traffic. Turns out he was some coalition official's son and high. I took them and arrested him for driving under the influence. I don't know. Is it? I was going to take them into evidence, but they weren't necessary for conviction. He never asked for them back. No, that would be silly. I don't know why I kept them. It doesn't matter. I couldn't put them on this.
He flashes a smile, barely visible in the dark. The spinners shine so bright they reflect on the lieutenant's glasses. He doesn't say it. The lieutenant nods as you take the spinners. As you tap on the gauge, the indicator pin jerks as if startled. It's in the lab.
No, that's enough fun with the fault.
The worn and beaten wood.
We can sit on benches after we...
You can revisit the bench if you ever need to pass the time when...
Typical Martinez streetlight. The light pole has been carefully cut, and the wiring has... This would make quite a statement in your...
Yes, officer. As you see, it's in perfect work. It was brought to me.
We are not here to investigate the theft of city. You have to admit it's rather clever.
700 Ray.
A bargain? No, it's not. He's trying to sweep...
The light has undergone 3 transformations, and well, there are the cost of removal. The most important transformation is the light's placement among all the...
Okay, that checks out. You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest. Try to find something pretty and cool here. Yes. Buy something nice. Big men on big horses, clad in lamella.
Franco-Nigerian knights. I used to be very serious.
A long, long time ago. They're not all blue. These figurines also wear gold coats and...
Which ones? Ah, those. Yes, they are. I find the paint...
This set of soldiers isn't meant to look impressive.
You're probably talking about the revolutionaries, yes? I think their poverty has been exaggerated for effect. When you place them next to the royalists, it doesn't seem like they could possibly win. I don't like either set very much, to be honest. But there are many...
Everything you pick out seems faded, chipped. The boomboxes on the shelf look... One especially catches your eye. Deep gold and amber. This is you. Just make sure it works before you buy it.
Is the Harman Welsh W2, made in Vespa, designed in Seoul. If police work means playing tapes, sure. Absolutely. I've tested each one myself. It's not often that I see officers from the RC. What can I do?
His courtesy is not insincere, but he prefers being alone with his...
Oh no, not at all.
Who are your customers?
All kinds of people come through here. Locals, travelers. As you can see, I have a wide selection of goods for everyone to choose from. It keeps me...
entertained. He might be high. If he is, on what?
I doubt it, but I can try. I do my best to keep my distance from all manner of butchery. Bad for business.
No one likes to see what you have to see every day. The pawnbroker's gaze is already fixed on the dancing color.
Someone else came here earlier today asking the same question. I
What? This is a pawn shop, and it did feel as if you've met before. The lieutenant shifts from one foot to another. Alert.
You were adamant about getting rid of it, and I don't like keeping guns around the shop for...
He's not telling you the whole story. It seems he's trying to spare you.
You weren't quiet. You were very distraught. You said the gun was a threat to your life, and when I said that I don't normally buy firearms, you put the gun barrel in your mouth and sort of sucked on it. 15 real.
The lieutenant looks from you to Roy, and then back to you. This has got to be the moment. There's pity there too, in case you didn't notice.
No apologies necessary, officer. She didn't seem like a policeman, although she kept referring to herself as a pig. Truth be told.
Right, so let me get this right. You sold your sidearm, issued by the citizens' militia, and now received...
Miraculously. His face does not reveal what's happening inside.
It's possible in these parts of town. We ought to find her.
My apologies, officer.
A needle in a haystack. There is nothing you can do about it right now. You'll just have to hope Everard wasn't.
Maybe. Shady-looking guys came in here yesterday, looking like they'd just taken off their wild pine. They went their way. It was a...
Maybe Claire really is tracking down your gun.
Of course. Sure thing. Sure, man. Greetings on this fine night. What brings you? Is it? Spring is capricious, yet the pawn shop is always...
Feeling warm and enthralled by the movement of light, while the mind continues to race forward. A drug developed by the military to treat and prevent radiation sickness. It has psychedelic side effects.
I tried to keep the shop at a...
There's a note of indignation in his voice.
Prolidon is just something I was with the Emergency Relief Brigade.
He's taken it for mental and emotional.
A bad idea. Some poor leftist built a particle decay generator in hopes of bringing affordable electricity to underserved communities.
The People's Pile was a Type U particle decay generator, a primitive nuclear reactor, also called a. Construction began during the Commune of Revachol. The people continued. Needless to say, an emergency valve defect resulted in steam pressure.
We were an all-volunteer force, self-organized. I lived by the river since I was a small... There wasn't much the volunteer force could do, however. There's a reason why everyone's tried to forget any... So much disappointment. No one's.
So much.
A bunch of poor people built themselves a primitive nuclear reactor. The cleanup happened 15 years ago. I was young, so I came to Martinez. People told me don't go there. It's a shithole. I said, people, we just had a nuclear pile meltdown. I'm gonna get as... I like the theory more than this.
Yeah, you gotta get in on those vortices, my man.
Have you tried it before?
The lieutenant steps away, pretending to admire. Go ahead then, he thinks. He won't be your nog, but he won't be thrilled about this either.
If you say, here you go, man.
Yes, darling. That's the coalition government ordained Parolidon.
Of course.
Yes, we'd like to sell these hubcaps.
Roy takes the hubcaps from the lieutenant.
Yes, these are very, very good. Did you defraud?
No one was defrauded or jumped. Are you sure?
Of course. I meant no offense. 200...
Thank you. Here's the 130 real you need for your bill. Do not waste it.
The rest is for him. To compensate for the pain, the windfall is a small consolation.
Anything else you're thinking of selling? Jean-Baptiste's summer dinghy rates is 31. So, what do you want to know? Price? I can give you 320 for it. A pin from 31 ought to be priced at 310, but I added a pin from 31 ought to be priced at 310, but sure, I can keep it behind the counter for a week, but only if you pawn it right now. Sure thing. So, do you want to sell anything? Anything else you're thinking of selling? Jean-Baptiste Summit. So, sure thing. So, do you... I'm not purchasing any more clothing at the moment. Another time, perhaps. Yes. Fortunately, I still have it. 330. Yes, you did, but this is how pawn shops make profit. Here you go, officer. Anything else I can do for you today?
Yes? What do you want to know? Good.
A couple of indicator lights are missing from this control. This panel usually closes the water lock, turning it into a... Pull the lever all the way up and nothing happens. Nothing happens. The spring brings the lever back to its original position. You still need to close the water lock to get a... Wasn't there a sign over there saying functionality will be restored on when... This coin-operated viewer is facing south. Why place a tourist attraction?
There was a revitalization project in 49. They got as far as the street lamps and that statue on the intersection before something went sour. That's odd. I could swear...
Your money disappeared. The curtains on the display open. You lean in to catch the view. It's blurry. The lenses shift. The ghost sharpens into an islet in the bay. It looks as if it was abandoned quite some time. Its leaves ripped from it by the winter wind. The little brave birch tree see...
Really? I don't have the eyesight.
This coin-operated viewer is... The metal feels cold and wet under your palm. It looks...
Probably some kids.
A thick layer of graffito covers the lens. That's Kuno on the lens. Under the graffito, a sea of blues and greys appear. Behind, you know this to be the star of Pericarnassus, or the kite. The church looks old and weather-worn. Around the large wooden building, you see chunks of sea ice. A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach.
Good evening, officers. I'm Joyce. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbor. You gentlemen must be from the VIII, my maiden name. I meant you, the Revachol Citizens Militia. Nothing, honestly. I've said it to every drunk in town, and you're the...
Relax. She meant it in jest.
I'm glad to see you here. I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from a...
There's a trace of irony in his voice.
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have... Why, yes I am. Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around? Yes, we are. We are on Le Caillou. We are. And the city of Revachol is on the island of Le Caillou. I haven't seen anyone else drive a suit.
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a... It's for crossing long distances in a greater...
Neither is this. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances.
You need to make this lady admit she's only riding around on this boat because she's rich. Before you do, it will be pertinent to ask other questions. Gather more info on this.
Oh my, the E word. You mean to say that it's a symbol of conspicuous consumption? That I'm a member of the ruling class?
Detective, may I remind you that Mrs. Messier is a prof...
Then what does that say? Does it say Dock 33A? This old proletarian haunt here? As I said, yes. Anyway, the boat? No.
The word, it. A breeze ripples through the cells and tugs at your hair. Below, the sleek, fish-like shape of the...
Okay. How about Cordeleche 19? Because it was manufactured in Revachol East by a company called Cordeleche, and its hull is 19 paces long. Why Dolores? Well, it means nothing to me. I think I'll stick with the fact it's a pleasure craft. A 19-pacer. It also happens to be rated for my sloop. I like it a lot.
I'm enjoying this part of the interview.
I really do, the lieutenant thinks. Is she thrown off yet?
Officer, I assure you I'm a high...
The crowns of her teeth are porcelain. Qualified pleasure craft operator. So
I just renewed its safety inspection last month, officers. It is completely seaworthy. In fact, the other time I would have finished the race were it not for an urgent...
Actually, you don't. It is a little known fact among those who police that the Wayfarer...
The Wayfarer Act is one of the few pieces of legislation governing human interaction. It's one of the foundational laws in Revachol, designed to limit the authority of local... It's a law that keeps Revachol what it is.
I was just being polite. Even school children know the Wayfarer Act. Unless it's their passport. No. Do you want to ask for the list?
Of course.
The woman is silent, smiling while the waves lap against the harp. The Republic of Vespa, formerly the Republic of Vespa Messina, was once a dual kingdom. The woman, born in the year 3 in the commune of Revachol.
Yes, but please don't call me that. Joyce is my...
She doesn't like it. Probably a bad memory.
My husband is. I have dual citizenship, a Vespa type.
She nods and returns the plastic bag to her coat.
Oh my, the E word.
Detective.
Then what 33A? This old proletarian... Yes. Anyway, good. What we do. I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole.
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to
The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those? And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy.
The Wild Pines group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Saint-Baptiste, Elysium, and
Why, thank you. I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20... Yes, past a certain point, numbers begin to seem imaginary. A conglomerate the size of Wild Pines is like a shark. If it stops moving, and they started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots. You know more than you let on. Certainly it helped, but most of the original Indo tribes have failed, or been absorbed. To survive, Wild Pines had to grow and adapt. You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners? Who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's... There are no minor cogs in the system. Each terminal must be accounted for, lest the entire system break.
With your help, hopefully, says her warm tongue.
Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets. First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade in Aliments that gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus. Why? By throwing off half a century of foreign domination under the coalition.
You'd be shooting yourself.
But I am derailing us. You wanted to know about... I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped now. They won't even let me into the harbor. There's a 2-meter... Yes, Jean-Luc Measurehead. Let's say I was not making...
And when did you first?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike?
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime.
Ludicrous even. It's meant.
Mr. Clare told him to... How did he put... Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, Yes. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator. There are leaflets everywhere. Every worker.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
In its defense, another said, demand democracy. Pretty tame stuff. It's quite simple, you see. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about what? Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000... That may well be. It's not up to me to decide who is king. I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that was just their opening position. A hard-nosed... And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind...
Excuse me, from whom did you hear?
I first heard it from the boyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, call me mañana.
This checks out.
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock? If they were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would...
It's implied. She's open to discuss...
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can... Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. Have you seen him? Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, organized labor at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections.
A mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say... Thank you for being candid. Sadly, Wild Pines have cooperated with what amounts to a crime syndicate. I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous...
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she was downright haunting, if you ask me. The Wild Pine... The point of the presentation is, these kinds of...
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just...
Of course. How else can I help? Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge number.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant, and this is my colleague from Precinct 41, Detective Dubois. I'm a...
Oh, and what happened to yours, Detective?
Awkwardness washes over the conversation. The woman doesn't like this turn of events.
I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode? I can't hear you, darling. Speak up, please. Oh dear.
She must have been suspecting.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional.
Of course, I sympathize. But I'm afraid I simply can't share anything.
Hang on. She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement. I mean, favors for favors. Consider this. Perhaps she has been planning it all along. Perhaps she even knew beforehand of your affliction. A sudden pinch of paranoia comes over you. Easy. Just offer her a favor, like I said.
I will be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to...
You're in, but expect her to drive her.
Reports from inside Terminal B suggest it's a hub for the local drug trade. This is an open secret in Martinez. The company has tried looking into this matter before, to no avail. Perhaps... Or you can recover your badge, though...
Detective, a word in private before we continue.
Hey. Psst. Yes, you. Word on the street is you're ready to start building. Yes, you're ready to start building communism again. You've built it before. They've built it before. Hasn't really worked out yet. This conversation isn't really about love. Try to keep up, okay? You keep saying things like, down with the bourgeoisie, eat the rich, sodomize the landowners, impale all people who have more than 25 real in their pockets. Literally murder all oh yes, the mask of ambivalence. Everyone can see that. So tell me, do you have any questions before we fire up the big communism builder? Or do we get right down to it? Failure. It's, yes, abject failure. Total, irreversible, you alone. Against every living thing. Against every human alive. You against the atom, the charm and the spin. Weather, now get to work. Oh yeah, get the firing squads and the animal wagons ready. Too late to back out now. It's clear you like the hard stuff, Bruta. Evening falls. The vows are blurred and flesh. Lower intestine. The term is fascism, Bruta. Many things, but it's mostly about trusting your gut. Who does your... Yes, women, men of war. You don't like... That's what fascism boils down to. Stomach truth. You're having... Because you've said the hard things that others won't say. Okay, that sounds much better. Traditionalism. You like... You're going to keep your views, right? Keep your views, Brota. For the nation. Smart. Best not to mention the women too often. That's why you're the head, and I am. Of course you are, Bruta. Of course.
This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective. Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance, and you know, not but this woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept improviser.
He doesn't let it show, but there is a limit to how much the consequences of your unprofessional be.
I'm sure you will, Detective. Yes. Knowing this does not... No. If there is reasonable suspicion, we must investigate. Otherwise, she could claim we are siding with the Union. What I propose is, we ask her, then we investigate, briefly. But do not share the outcome of this investigation with her. We tell her it's done, and demand for her information on the lynching. Oh, that would be fantastic, but do we have the time?
The situation might have changed drastically.
You could request a new one from your station, but that would...
You're back. Good. Matter of fact, I don't. I have a medical condition of my own. Nothing unusual, though. I'm old. Thank you. I do what I can to remain presentable. Now, ask me some questions. You have.
Finally, time to choose sides.
Oh, come on now. He has his uses. Corruption. That's how he's done it.
The position of my unusual colleague does not reflect official policy.
Of course. And I don't expect you to share anything he told you. How could I stop you? Are we not human?
Intellectually speaking, it would be... Tell her she'll like you for it.
Of course, Detective. Until then, is there anything I can help you with? This reality? Ah, yes, the episode.
Don't be phased, madame. He functions perfectly well.
We may be here a while then. Ask away, officer. I'll help.
All right, we're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first.
We're in Martinez, baby. Martinez is a district of Revachol. You would be excused for not knowing about it. I'm not a good ambassador. I've only been here once before, as a teen. This place used to be a province, a workers' resort before the city swallowed it and the artillery did. It's not really a sea, it's the... Yes. We're on an island.
Known to the early rivers, vast, lukewarm.
Caillou, as you already know. Imagine a pebble.
It is clear this, and to humanity at large.
Revachol, the great kind.
As if it's self-explanatory.
History detective. They built this city to resolve the nations of the Occident, or migrant workers from Seminar in the DeLorean century. They say it's where the terrible question... By that I mean, we are standing on a fertile, self-sufficient island, able to sustain up to 2... I think it's fair to say so. 22 kilometers from the center of the world. That soldering iron is the...
Silence. The water, the light. There is no recognition. Only the immensity.
We are where we are. I have no truer answer to give, unfortunately.
This is one thought you...
Was there something else you wanted to know?
This has been informative. Thank you, ma'am. I'm sure my memory... Might I suggest not asking them all right now? Monsieur will be here later.
Absolutely. My commit...
It's better not to eat all your candy at once.
Indeed. I'm always at your service. Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know...
Is what you want to say. Look at that lady. Take a gander. Squint. Why, yes. Tucked away under that sturdy green raincoat. While dull orange pearls. These are the kind eyes of the rich man, within reason. Now look at you. You misery-clad simian. You're poor. Poor as balls. You can't ask this person for money. You're too... Yes. You should be able to take...
As I was saying, if there's any way I may be of assistance, please don't hesitate to ask. It's quite straightforward. Someone is using Terminal B to...
Ingredients for what?
Meth and dextroamphetamine, GBL and various synthetic psychedelics. Honest, yes. After they clear the terminal, we lose track.
Wild Pine seems to be well apprised of the local drug trade, man.
We're in logistics. It's our business to know. And no. Yes, but you won't get anything out of Evrat and the dock workers.
The handoff. The motor lorries at the roundabout.
Precisely. Someone needs to move the ingredients from the harbor into the city. What?
How convenient that they're stranded like people.
Perhaps you've noticed that a number of lorries are tangled in a traffic jam at the roundabout just now. I'll be explicit. If you find this driver, we did. On more than one occasion.
We know the company has launched its own probe into the union's alleged involvement.
Well, here's your chance of... No. We asked East Motor Track to raise the drawbridge. This is a limited time opportunity. Once the complaint has... Thousands of liters of raw ingredients will pour onto the streets of Revachol.
Well, at least it...
What is that, Lieutenant?
Why I had to call East Motor Track and beg them to open a drawbridge for me.
I am sorry for the inconvenience, Lieutenant Kisaragi, but how do you think they're financing this strike? There are
There was a shakedown of local businesses preceding the strike.
With all due respect to these desert cacti, the contents of a few cash registers cannot provide for two... Precisely. Smuggled out of that very gate at night, most likely, then loaded onto lorries and... The two might...
Or not. Though, if you have evidence to the contrary, I...
As eager as I am to share it, Lieutenant, once the job... Yes? Excellent. According to my reports, there are at least 3... It may come to nothing, or it may just blow the case wide open. In the meantime, let me know if there's any other... Good.
Voila! You're doing. Really put your back into it. Yell it from the top of your lungs.
Why, yes, I am rich. How much money do you need?
She's surprisingly nonchalant about this. Could it be that she somehow knows more about your predicament than she...
That's a good sum. Not too small, not fantastically large.
She removes a few notes and hands them to you.
So, I hope I didn't just bribe you, officer. It may not be technically illegal under the Emergency Act, but still...
You're right, man, that donations are permitted under the Emergency Act.
Which he most certainly will do. You're back. Good. What can I help? What would you like to know? Oh my.
Detective.
Then what does 33A? This old proletarian haunt here? As I said, plenty of people drive boats. Yes. Good.